between the two countries. Among these agreements is a tripartite agreement on the importation and transit of refined petroleum products through Kenya to Uganda. Now, this decision is seen as a strategic move to improve economic ties between the neighbors following recent tensions over government-to-government oil imports from the Gulf. Our reporter Linda Koskei has the details.
Kenya and Uganda have taken a significant step towards strengthening their trade relations. In a historic move, Kenya has signed a tripartite agreement with Uganda aimed at boosting trade between the two nations.
Principal Secretary, Petroleum Kenya.
President William Ruto said the second session of the joint ministerial meeting held from May 12th to 14th, 2024 in Kampala, Uganda, culminated in the signing of 7 instruments of cooperation. Among them is an agreement allowing Kenya to import oil to Uganda, marking a new chapter in their economic partnership, with Kenya agreeing to extend the oil pipeline from Eldoret to Uganda.
We've just witnessed enables Uganda National Oil Company Limited to import refined product commodities directly from producers in different jurisdictions, thus bringing to an end the challenges faced by the sector in Uganda.
We must create prosperity in the modern way by everybody joining the money economy. And when you join the money economy, you produce a good or a service.
President William Ruto emphasized the need for collaboration with Uganda, outlining key areas of cooperation. The president insisted that removal of trade barriers like tariffs would be an effective tool to boost economic growth, connect more people to work, and increase citizens' purchasing power as the economy recovers.
All the issues around rice and juice and furniture and eggs and chicken and sugar and all the other issues are now resolved.
The decision comes on the heels of recent tensions caused by the government-to-government oil imports from the Gulf, which strained relations between the neighboring countries.
We've also agreed that we will now explore jointly the extension of the pipeline from Eldoret to Kampala that will form the conversation in the next joint ministerial committee.
President Museveni's visit underscores the strong relations between the two countries.
Africa needs to organize the market of Africa to integrate it. The fragmented market of Africa will not help us. That's how they evolved. In 1980, you can see almost more than 20 years since independence. This was the first time they started talking about the economic integration.
Other MOUs signed today include...
We also have MOUs on cooperation of public service and development, whose objective is to enhance service delivery by our 2 public service institutions.
As both countries look towards a future of increased partnership and prosperity, this agreement marks a significant milestone in their shared history. President Museveni is in Kenya for a 3-day visit, seeking to further cement the relationship between Kenya and Uganda. Linda Koskei, K24 TV.
Now, the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Teachers (KUPPET) has affirmed its support for the junior secondary school intern teachers protesting for better conditions. They are calling on the government to increase budgetary allocation to ensure these teachers are confirmed as permanent and pensionable by the next financial year. Now, Harriet Chimea reports on the ongoing situation and the challenges faced due to a significant budget deficit.
In turn, junior secondary school teachers have vowed to continue their strike until the demands are met. This as grade 7 and 8 continue bearing the brunt of paralyzed learning. In Nairobi, Eldoret, Siaya and Embu, KUPPET has been at the forefront of the protests.
And you are giving us a deaf ear. Mr. President, you have 3 years to rectify the mess. Otherwise, we will not pack you in 2027.
Graduates of 2022, graduates of 2023 are in class, whereas we have 2015 graduates who are out here as interns. And it is very wrong because we don't understand what happened to queuing in the commission.
Any threats from TSC administration should be reported to the national leadership immediately so that legal action can be taken against the perpetrators.
The parents must ensure that they put the government to task to ensure that there is quality service delivery. The government has employed 1 or 2 or 3 teachers to teach learning areas that they are not familiar with. The learners are being served with a raw deal.
Sisi ni wale walimu ambao tulisubiri ule mshahara kwa zaidi ya miezi 6. Na sasa tuko hapa leo tunalia kwa sababu ahadi yao ile walitupa kwamba baada ya mwaka mmoja wangetupa kandarasi za kudumu, ile ahadi bado haijatimia.
In the capital city, they marched from Green Park to the Senate to present their petition. However, they were met only by a clerk who did not take their petition with the seriousness it deserves. They now await the Senate's response in the next 72 hours. Kuppet also demanded an increase in the budget allocation for the next financial year to ensure proper payment for JSS teachers, adding that their confirmation to permanent and pensionable should be completed by the next financial year.
Do wherever supplementary budget, avail money by June, July, and give these teachers. Yes. Without that, we support them. Don't report.
However, this could be a challenge as the proposed 2024-2025 budget has a deficit of 15.4 billion shillings for junior secondary schools, which could disrupt the issuance of capitation and further cripple the already staggering competency-based curriculum CBC.
It is very sad that these JSS, they are being paid 17,000, yet we can see the letters. Some people younger than them, those who are born the year 2000 and 2003, are being given letters of permanent and pensionable. It is very demotivating.
Following a ruling that nullified the Teachers Service Commission illegal implementation of internships for already qualified teachers, the interns claim that TSC has continuously ignored their grievances. Harriet Chimea, K24.
Thank you, Chimea, for that report. Away from that, 2 days after the devastating landslides in Kimende, Kiambu County, the bodies of 3 people suspected to be buried in the slides are yet to be found. Efforts by the county government have been hampered by continuous heavy rains. Meanwhile, families in Mai Mahiu have buried 6 victims of recent floods. Robbie Mondi with the details.
George Kamau is an uncle to one of the persons suspected to be buried by the Kimende landslides on Tuesday night.
Walikuwa wanatoka Kimende wakiwa vijana waine. Kitu kama 5 hivi. Wao waine walikuwa mbele lakini mmoja alikuwa nyuma. Huyo alikuwa nyuma ndio aliona wakifuniko na akirudi nyuma akaanza kupiga duru. Ndio watu wakakuja wakasema vile aliona.
2 days later, the bodies of the 3 people suspected to have died have not been found, leaving the families and relatives in distress.
Mtoto wa bwana yangu ndio amefunikwa pale na hiyo mchanga. Ndio tunangojea tuone kama tutapata hiyo mwili. Ndio angalau roho itulie.
Gari yetu iko na machinari wa kutosha na iko na uwezo wa kutosha kuja na kuweza kuharakisha hii shughuli iondoke ili tupate kupata wapendwa wetu haraka na ili tuweze kuendelea na shughuli zingine, lakini sasa tumechukua muda.
The county government's efforts to excavate the area have been futile due to the rain that continues to pour, making the exercise even more difficult.
Kwa sababu maporomoko yalikuwa yameendelea kutoka karibu wiki mzima, kuna mahali watu walikuwa wanapita na njia ilikuwa ni kidogo. Kwa hivyo kuna mahali tunaweza kusema hapa ndio watu walikuwa wanapita kama kuna watu ambao wamekufa wako katika area hiyo. Kuna mpango imefanywa tayari na county commander wa polisi wakuja na sniper dogs ndio ziweze kutusaidia kuweza kujua kabisa ni wapi ambapo kunaweza kuwa kuna watu ambao wamezikwa pale.
School going pupils have been urged to avoid taking the affected route to school until their security is assured.
Tuna mipango tunataka kufanya pia, tuna watoto ambao wanasoma kutoka upande wa chini wakienda Kimende, kuanzia kesho tuone kama tunaweza kufanya alternative route ama transport ya kuwapeleka shule kwa sababu hii barabara tutafunga. Ukiangalia tu maporomoko yanaweza pia kutokea wakati wowote, hasa wakati ambapo tunatoa mabaki ya jana.
This comes as 6 people who died due to the Mai Mahiu floods have been buried today, including 4 children and 2 adults.
Tuko na mambo mzito juu tungesema ati ni kukaribia ni kurudi kwenye tulikuwa. Yani ni mali ya uzito sana.
Tumekuwa na waheshimiwa wamekuja hapa, tumekuwa na a lot of people that have come to Mai Mahiu. My prayer as Ireri is to ask the government not to let down the families.
Families who lost their loved ones have been urged to seek counseling within the next 6 months to get closure and peace of mind.
And also helping them to come up with support groups whereby they can be coming together and sharing their problems. You know, when we say that when a problem is shared, it is halfway solved.
Robbie Omondi, K24.
Now, hundreds of residents living in informal settlements have decried the unjust evictions and brutality in the ongoing demolitions targeting structures built on riparian land. Now, the residents who took to the streets today have petitioned the county government to expedite set regulations to protect residents in informal settlements and ensure compensation and appropriate resettlement as per the National Land Use Policy. Gertrude Brugay reports.
Drama ensued outside the Nairobi County Assembly today, following a fracas between the law enforcement officers and peaceful demonstrators. Hundreds of Nairobi residents took to the streets to protest what they have termed as unjust and brutal evictions by the government on structures built on riparian land.
Hakuna playing grounds za watoto wetu, hakuna green spaces, hakuna public spaces. Haya, ukiona riparian land, huko ghetto wanabomoa kwa sababu ati manyumba za riparian land. Lakini tuliona pia huku Karen Kileleshwa, hawajaanza kubomoa, wanataka tukujenga tu manyumba zinaenda juu. Ona, kwani hiyo ni maisha kweli? Hiyo sio maisha.
According to dozens of the families, the county must expedite regulations to protect residents in informal settlements during reclamation processes and ensure compensation as per the constitution.
We have a river in South B. They were demolishing one side of the river that has what they are calling the kijiji or informal settlements. But the side that has nyumba za wenye wako na pesa or what we can call middle class or factories were left intact. And in fact, some of the places that they were demolishing, the houses of the informal settlements were not even as near to the river as where the other houses were. So even their reaction to that was unfair in itself. It was an injustice in itself.
When riparian land that has been encroached on, you have the demolition of homes, but in Runda, you haven't removed anyone from there. Yet the houses are up to their waist in water. So we cannot have an unequal Nairobi where some have access to impunity and others do not.
The residents have condemned the recent attacks by the police during the eviction process, which has led to several deaths on Kenyans dwelling within the slums.
The money set aside for disasters. What has happened with that money? Because very many people in the informal settlement, they are sleeping in the tent, they don't have a place to stay.
The demonstrators have given a 7-day ultimatum to Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja to provide lasting solutions, failure to which they shall continue with the protest.
Hatuna demand Article 43, right to proper housing. Wenye wanaishi ghetto, tunataka proper housing. Na hizo nyumba wanasema wanasema affordable housing wanajenga. Niza kina nani? Kama sisi wenye tunaishi huko ghetto.
Gertrude Burgay, K24 TV.
Now that report by Gertrude Brugay takes us to a second break here on K24 Evening Edition. We'll be back in a few.